Have you ever considered that a simple, natural act could be quietly jeopardizing your health, especially as you get older? Many men over 60 may not realize that their everyday habits, including something as personal as masturbation, can become dangerous at certain times of the day. This video will not only reveal the 7 most dangerous times to engage in self-pleasure after 60, but it will also provide you with vital information on how to protect your heart, mind, and body from hidden risk. From early morning to late night habits, we'll explore how each moment of the day affects your circulation, blood pressure, and even your longevity. By the end of this video, you'll know how to avoid common, life-threatening mistakes, why timing matters more than you think, and what changes you can make today to safeguard your independence and vitality for years to come. This is not just about reducing risks, it's about taking control of your health and ensuring that you can continue to live life to the fullest, safely and confidently. If you are not subscribed, I recommend subscribing and activating the notification bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support means a lot to me, and if you enjoyed this video, you can help me continue spreading the valuable lessons by liking and sharing it. And in just a few moments, I'll unveil what may be the most life-altering truth no one dares to say out loud: the absolute worst time of day to masturbate after the age of 70. A time when your risk of vascular collapse doesn't just rise, it quietly explodes beneath the surface, hidden from sight, masked by routine, until it's too late. It's a moment that can shift your body from calm to catastrophe in a heartbeat. Literally. But before we dive into the 7 most critical windows of risk, I need to speak to you not just as a doctor, but as a witness, because I've stood by too many hospital beds, looked into too many sorrowful eyes, and watched too many strong, proud men pay an unthinkable price for what seemed like a harmless private habit. If you get this wrong, it won't just cost you a night of discomfort, it could cost you everything. Your stability, your dignity, even your life. So let me be crystal clear. This is not just another health tip. This is a line in the sand. A warning drenched in truth and hard-earned experience. Because if you continue this one act at the wrong time of day, why, after the age of 60, you may never get the chance to undo the damage. You might collapse in your bathroom with no warning, no pulse, and no one there to catch you before you fall. You might black out and wake up to blood pooling from a head injury against unforgiving tile. Or you might not wake up at all. You could suffer a silent, deadly arrhythmia, a sudden misfire of the heart that ends everything in seconds. Or perhaps the consequences won't strike all at once. Maybe they'll come slowly, cruelly, weakening your blood vessels day by day, diminishing your balance, making each stairwell a battlefield, turning the act of rising from your favorite chair into a moment of fear and trembling, where you clutch the edge and pray you don't fall. I've seen the devastation. I've spoken with men who could no longer walk unaided after one misjudged morning. Men who fractured their hips and never walked again. Men who died alone, quietly, their final moments cloaked in shame and confusion. And the saddest part? These aren't rare cases. They're common. The only thing uncommon is the honesty. Most men never say what happened. Doctors rarely ask. Families are left puzzled, desperate for answers. And so the cycle continues, quiet, cruel, and unrelenting. It strips men of their strength, their independence, and in some cases, their very identity as capable, confident individuals. Because here's the truth. You are not invincible anymore. That illusion faded with time. And pretending otherwise is dangerous. After 60, your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. The smallest spark can ignite a storm. One mistimed release can overload your nervous system, send your blood pressure crashing, trigger erratic heartbeats, and knock you unconscious within seconds. Especially if you're standing, dehydrated, or alone. This is the true cost. Not just embarrassment. Not just fatigue, but the loss of everything you've spent your life trying to protect, your health, your freedom, your clarity of mind, and yes, your life. And that's why this message cannot wait until tomorrow. It has to be heard now while you still have the power to act, because hidden inside your daily routine are 7 ticking time bombs. 7 specific windows when your body is at its weakest, most unstable, most vulnerable. You won't feel the warning signs. You won't see them coming. But when you know what they are, you can avoid them. And in doing so, you can protect your strength, your independence, and your life. So let me begin with the most deceptive, the most overlooked, and tragically, the most dangerous of them all. Number 1. Immediately after waking up. Most men don't think twice about it. You wake up, maybe aroused, maybe tense, and you figure, why not take care of it now? It's private. It's natural. But what's going on inside your body in those first few minutes is anything but safe. It's a storm, quiet, invisible, but fierce. The moment you open your eyes, your body goes from rest to rapid readiness. Your blood pressure surges. Your heart rate increases. Your adrenal glands dump cortisol and adrenaline into your bloodstream, a biological jolt to snap you into alertness. And this isn't a gentle transition, especially not for a heart that's aging. In your 20s or 30s, your cardiovascular system can handle this sharp shift. But after 60, it's more like forcing a cold engine to full throttle. And if you add sexual stimulation into that mix, if you climax in the middle of this surge, you're demanding too much too fast. Your blood rushes to the genitals, pulling circulation away from your brain, your heart, and your core. Your pressure spikes, then plummets. Your nervous system goes into overdrive. The result? Fainting, dizziness, sudden heart irregularities, vision loss, or worse. One of my patients, an active 74-year-old man, healthy by all appearances, passed out just minutes after waking. The cause? Morning masturbation. The hormonal surge had already primed his heart for strain, and the added stimulation was too much. He collapsed in the bathroom, cracked his skull on the sink. He survived, but barely. And his life hasn't been the same since. He now walks with a cane. He lost his confidence, his freedom. That one moment, just a few minutes of careless timing, stole what decades of health had built. Let this be your wake-up call. Not a scare tactic. A truth bomb wrapped in compassion. Because no one talks about this. But you deserve to know. You deserve to protect yourself. And you deserve to live the rest of your years with strength, clarity, and dignity. And with tears in his eyes, he looked at me and said, if someone had just told me it was risky, I never would have done it. That moment, that heartbreaking admission, is why I'm speaking to you now. What might seem like an innocent act of relief, something you've done countless times before, can turn into a decision that shifts the course of your life forever. Your body is no longer the same. It needs time. Time to wake up slowly, time to hydrate, to stretch, to breathe. It needs gentle care, not overstimulation. The truth is, your blood vessels are already constricting when you wake up, your heart is working harder than it should, and your body is under a certain amount of stress. The moment you engage in self-pleasure during this delicate time, you may be paying a price that goes unnoticed until the damage has been done. It's not about shame, it's about survival. Your body is wiser now, but it's also more vulnerable. So, before you give in to that early morning urge, pause and ask yourself, is the pleasure worth the potential cost? Now, if you thought that was dangerous, wait until you hear about another time of day that many men overlook. The quiet danger of the afternoon. 2. During afternoon fatigue, when your energy is lowest. There's a time every day when your body begins to slow down without you even realizing it, a quiet, unnoticed lull that sneaks in between 2 and 4 p.m. It feels like fatigue. It feels like the natural urge to relax, to lie down, to disconnect. Your body, after hours of activity and exertion, craves a moment of rest. You might think, I'm home, I'm alone, and I deserve this. And you're right. You deserve peace, comfort, and a moment to recharge. But I've seen this particular window of time become the pivotal moment that changes lives forever, lives that were, up until then, seemingly healthy and stable. What most men don't know is this. Your body in the afternoon is in one of its most vulnerable states. Blood pressure tends to dip. Circulation slows. The nervous system sinks into a mild slump, which is why you feel drowsy or unmotivated during these hours. Your heart doesn't beat with the same strength it did earlier in the day. Your brain relaxes its sharp edge. And for many older adults, muscles begin to stiffen, coordination weakens, and reflexes slow. These aren't minor changes. These are the very moments when you're most at risk. When you introduce sexual stimulation at this time, your body is forced into an abrupt shift, shifting from low energy to a high demand state, straining your cardiovascular system in ways it might not be able to handle. The consequences aren't just fatigue or dizziness after climax. It's about how that drop in energy can make your blood pressure plummet, about how sexual arousal saps your already dwindling reserves of strength. And that, my friend, leaves you vulnerable to disorientation, to shallow breathing, to moments where everything spins out of control. I had a patient in his early 70s who thought nothing of a little afternoon self-care. He reclined in his chair, pleasured himself, and then drifted off to sleep, as so many do. But when he awoke 3 hours later, he couldn't move his neck. He thought it was just a little stiffness, but 2 days later, he was in the ER, diagnosed with a minor stroke. This is not an isolated incident. The risk is real. Afternoon masturbation can trigger what's known as postural hypotension, an alarming drop in blood pressure when you shift positions too quickly. For men who masturbate seated and then rise to stand, this can lead to dangerous falls, head injuries, or worse. Even if you don't fall, many men report a foggy mental state, a profound weakness in their legs, and extreme sleepiness that can last for hours. These aren't coincidences. These are the telltale signs of a system under too much stress. You've made it this far by listening to your body, by understanding its rhythms. Now, more than ever, it's critical to continue doing just that. Afternoon fatigue isn't the time to push through. It's time to rest. Hydrate, stretch, take a nap. If intimacy is something you desire, plan it for times when your body is stronger, more alert, and better able to respond safely. Because, as dangerous as afternoon fatigue can be, there's another, perhaps even more insidious risk that lurks during another part of your day, after a big meal. Let's explore that now. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment 1 below to let me know that you are still here with me. 3. Immediately after a big meal or when digestion takes priority. It might surprise you to hear this, but some of the most dangerous moments for older men don't come during times of stress, strain, or extreme activity. They come during the ordinary. During those quiet, comforting moments when life seems simple. Like sitting back after a satisfying meal. You finish dinner, push your plate aside, maybe sigh in contentment. The belly is full, the house is quiet, and for some, especially those living alone or with a slow-paced routine, this becomes the perfect moment for a little private release. A small act of pleasure, a reward, a moment of escape from the noise of life. But what you don't see, what you don't feel, is the quiet, internal battle your body begins to fight the moment you put your fork down. Right after a big meal, your system is flooded with digestive demand. Your heart diverts a massive amount of blood toward your stomach and intestines. Your blood vessels dilate in the abdominal region while constricting elsewhere. Your energy is being funneled toward digestion, one of the most energy-intensive processes your body handles. And then, you redirect blood elsewhere, toward your pelvis, toward arousal. You ask your heart to serve two masters at once, digestion and sexual climax. And for a younger man, this tug-of-war might not be noticeable. But for a man over 60, this is where real danger begins. I worked with a 69-year-old man, strong, self-reliant, active. He confided that he often felt drained after masturbating post-meal, but brushed it off. Then one evening, just after dinner, he collapsed. His knees gave out, his vision blurred, and he hit the floor hard before he could cry out for help. The fall fractured his pelvis. 8 weeks of painful rehab followed. He told me later, "If I'd known it was dangerous, I never would have risked it for something so small." That's the thing, this danger hides in plain sight. Even when it doesn't lead to an immediate fall, the damage accumulates. Repeatedly masturbating after meals can strain digestion, cause cramping, induce nausea, or trigger splitting headaches from poor oxygen flow to the brain. For those managing blood sugar issues, especially diabetics, the hormonal roller coaster of climax on top of digestion can lead to unpredictable blood sugar spikes or crashes. One moment of release becomes hours of imbalance, fatigue, or even danger. This isn't about removing your freedom. It's about empowering you with awareness. Your body isn't broken. It's just different now. It needs cooperation, not competition. When you honor its rhythm, it rewards you with strength. Ignore it, and it reminds you in ways you won't forget. But if you thought digestion was delicate, wait until you hear what happens with something even more basic, something most men don't even consider dangerous at all. 4. While dehydrated, a hidden risk that strikes without warning. Hydration, something so simple, so easy to overlook. You might think, "I haven't been sweating," or "I had coffee this morning, I'm fine." But here's the problem. As we get older, our internal thirst signals begin to fade. By the time you feel dehydrated, your body is already in a state of deficit. That's when the real damage begins to creep in, quietly, almost politely, until it isn't. You see, your blood needs water to stay fluid. Your muscles rely on hydration to function without locking up. Your heart depends on water to maintain its rhythm and pressure. When your body lacks fluids, even slightly, your blood thickens, your blood vessels tighten, and your heart has to work harder just to keep you standing. No, we imagine adding sexual arousal to that picture. Your heart rate spikes. Blood is drawn rapidly to your genitals. The nervous system shifts gears. And suddenly, your already struggling body is thrown into overdrive with no fuel left to cushion the blow. I had a Patty, 67 years old, who told me he started experiencing strange cramps in his calves and sharp fluttering in his chest after masturbation. He assumed it was anxiety. But after reviewing his routine, it became clear. No water, multiple cups of coffee, and a habit of pleasuring himself in the early afternoon. His body was screaming for hydration. The muscle cramps weren't random, they were a red flag. His heart palpitations weren't emotional, they were physical strain from thickened blood and a system on the edge. And it doesn't end there. Dehydration compromises more than just muscles and blood flow. It raises your risk for urinary tract infections, especially after climax. If you aren't well hydrated, your bladder and urethra don't flush out properly. Bacteria lingers. It multiplies. It infects. And suddenly, what was supposed to be a moment of satisfaction becomes days of burning pain, frequent urination, and antibiotics. For men with prostate issues, this risk is even greater. And then there's the dizziness, the woozy, foggy confusion that sets in after climax. That's not just in your head. It's a real, measurable lack of oxygen-rich blood reaching your brain. In seniors, even a short episode of confusion can lead to stumbles, falls, or a terrifying feeling of being lost in your own home. This isn't about fear. It's about power. Protecting your power. And water is one of the most overlooked, yet most essential tools for doing that. Before you engage in any kind of intimacy, drink water. Fuel your body. Support your system. Give it the tools it needs to experience pleasure without penalty. But while dehydration is a silent risk, there's another moment that feels comforting, safe, even. But what happens when you choose intimacy right after a shower? What happens when the steam clears and your body, relaxed and warm, lets its guard down? Let's talk about why the bathroom, especially after a hot shower, is one of the most deceptively dangerous places for older men to seek release. 5. Right after showering, The illusion of relaxation. There's something undeniably soothing about the warmth of a shower, a momentary escape from the rush of life, where the steam clouds your surroundings, and the hot water massages your body, offering a brief, sweet respite. For many older men, this becomes a moment to unwind, to let go of the weight of the world, even to indulge in a quiet, personal act of self-pleasure. It feels safe, intimate, and comforting. But what you feel on the surface, the calm, the peace, the solitude, doesn't always align with the complex reactions unfolding deep inside your body. And this subtle disconnect, this quiet illusion of comfort, could cost you more than you ever imagined. You see, the warm water that soothes your tired muscles and calms your nerves doesn't just relax your mind, it affects your circulatory system. The heat causes your blood vessels to dilate in a process called vasodilation. This drop in blood pressure and the shifting of blood flow, while calming in the moment, is a silent and dangerous signal to your body that it's in a vulnerable state. For a moment, everything feels peaceful, but underneath, your body is already in a delicate balance. And that delicate balance can be shattered in an instant, especially if you decide to engage in self-pleasure right after the shower. When you step out of the warmth, your body is still basking in that heat. Your blood vessels are still wide open, and your blood pressure remains slightly lower. You might already feel the familiar lightheadedness, that momentary dizziness, especially if you've been standing for too long or if the room is steamy, making it harder to breathe. It's a subtle signal from your body saying, slow down. But the danger doesn't stop there. If you decide to masturbate during this fragile moment, you're introducing a powerful and rapid shift in blood flow. Sexual arousal redirects blood to the pelvic region, which competes with the slow, relaxing flow already taking place from the warm water. It's like two opposing forces pulling at your circulatory system, forcing it to adapt quickly. For seniors, this sudden pressure change can result in dizziness, heart irregularities, nausea, or sudden weakness in the legs. The worst-case scenario? A collapse, a fall in a slick bathroom, where one misstep could lead to life-threatening injuries. A fall that could forever alter the course of your life. I've seen it firsthand. Families crushed by the devastating impact of something that seems so trivial, an unexpected fall in the shower, a grandfather found unconscious, a father slipping and breaking a hip. In many cases, the real cause of these accidents was never fully acknowledged. It remained buried under the weight of silence, perhaps embarrassment. But the pattern is undeniable. When sexual stimulation meets instability, it often leads to tragedy. And even when it doesn't result in catastrophic harm, it still leaves a mark. Perhaps it's the feeling of faintness after climax, the need to grip the sink just to stay upright, struggling to catch your breath, or trembling as you attempt to dry off. That is not the natural course of aging. That's your body desperately signaling, this isn't the right time. If you ignore that internal voice, the next warning could come when you're unable to respond in time. I tell my patients this often. The bathroom is not a safe space for stimulation. It's a place where strong men, proud and confident, unknowingly meet their physical limits, limits they never saw coming. After a warm shower, let your body cool down first. Sit, drink some water, let your heart regain its normal rhythm, and give yourself time before engaging in any activity that could further elevate your internal pressures. Because the truth is, timing is everything. The next moment of danger doesn't come in the form of physical vulnerability. Instead, it is rooted in something deeper, something far more insidious, emotional stress. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment below to let me know that you are still here with me. 6. During high emotional stress, when the body is already overloaded. There are moments in life when the weight of the world feels heavier than usual. Grief, loneliness, frustration, regret, the emotions that linger in the background of your mind and steal the light from your days. These feelings become tangible, pressing down on your chest, squeezing your heart, making it harder to breathe and think clearly. And in these moments of vulnerability, the desire to find comfort, to ease the ache in your soul, becomes almost overwhelming. You might seek solace in something as simple as self-pleasure, a fleeting escape from the emotional storm raging within. It's a natural impulse, born from the longing to feel something, anything, that might fill the void. A desire for connection, for release, even if it's just with yourself. But this is also one of the most dangerous times to give in to that urge. Why? Because your body is already under an immense amount of stress, and indulging in self-pleasure is the last thing your overloaded system needs. When you are emotionally stressed, your body shifts into what's known as the sympathetic nervous system response, also referred to as the fight-or-flight response. Your body is no longer in a state of calm, it's prepared for battle. Your cortisol levels skyrocket. Your heart races, blood vessels constrict, your muscles tense, and your mind becomes a whirlwind of worry. You might feel anxious, restless, even agitated, and in these moments, engaging in sexual activity is akin to asking your body to function in overdrive when it's already barely holding on. The stress response doesn't leave room for pleasure. It demands that every part of your system be on alert, intensifying the emotional and physical toll. Masturbation, which requires physical relaxation, energy, and blood flow, stands in stark contrast to the stress your body is experiencing. When you attempt to find release during emotional distress, you place your body in an even more fragile state, exacerbating the physical strain. The hormones of arousal, combined with the overpowering stress hormones in your bloodstream, create a volatile mixture that can destabilize both your body and your mind. When you give in to that urge during times of emotional overload, it's more than just an uncomfortable experience, it's a dangerous gamble. Your body, already struggling under emotional weight, is pushed further, and the consequences of that strain can ripple through your health in unexpected ways.